Okay, hi guys. Today's our first lecture for C, so I'm gonna be quick. It's just gonna learn about C. Okay, so introduction. So before you start, you have to make sure you have Xcode installed. We get Xcode just to get the GCC compiler because it's like the easiest way you can get it. So yeah, just install Xcode, command line tools, and also like the developer kits. You're gonna need it. So make sure you can use the vi command in the GCC. We'll talk about that later. Okay, so great. Let's write your first code. So because everyone writes hello world, right? Okay, so just watch my demo. So first of all, we're gonna go documents. Oh yeah, by the way, before you start, just like type pwd, which displays your current path. So make sure you're in your user, which is home. So it's like when you type cd dot, you go back to home, right? So now we're gonna go to documents. Now I'm gonna just write. Let's call it hello.c. Okay. So let's just write the hello world code. Okay. Alright, great. So what I did just now was that I typed vi hello.c, right? And then I typed I on my keyboard. If you go to insert, you can see insert mode, and I can type when I'm in insert mode, I can type stuff, right? Okay. And when I type escape, I'll quit insert mode, so I cannot type any more stuff without like pressing I. Okay, and now I want to save it, so I just type the colon, right? Shift and that thing, colon, and then W for save, right? For write. And if I want to exit, I just do Q. But if I want to save and like quit altogether, what the hell? If I want to like save and quit altogether, I'll just do like WQ. So I'll just exit back, right? Great. So let's see what we wrote. So I'll cat hello.c, so it displays the content of this file, right? Okay, so hello.c. We have first included a library, so stdio is like the standard IO or standard input output library, and then int main is where the program starts, and then once it starts, we're gonna do printf, which is basically print on the output on the command line. Later you'll learn it's actually writing to the IO file, and we wrote hello world, and then the slash n just means like going to a new line, right? And then just gonna GCC. So GCC is to compile. Okay, hello.c, and you can see it's gonna compile. It's gonna take a while. Just press enter and wait. Yeah. If you're impatient like me, like you spam random stuff here, but it's gonna compile. Oh yeah, look, it compiled. So how do we know if it compiled? We're gonna like list out. Okay, so ls, and then ignore my random stuff, but you'll see a.out. Okay, so when you gcc something, like when you compile something, the default name is a.out. So we can see like a.out is like located here, right? So how do we execute it? We just like, because a.out is an executable file, we just run it by typing this thing. So like the dot is our current directory, and then like this slash is like just separated, and then in our current directory a.out, so we're running that, right? And then when I run it, it's gonna say hello world. Okay, great. So you just wrote your first code. Congratulations. So yeah. Now we're gonna learn about the basics of programming in C. So you see there's like function, variable, and logic. So what are they? A function contains logic that takes in out inputs and give outputs, right? A variable, they're given you functions and logics. They can store stuff, and logic checks the conditions of variables and call functions. For example, like you have this is a function, this is a condition, this is a variable. You're gonna learn more about it later. Okay, variables. So in C, there's a int, which is an integer. There's double, which is decimal. There's float, which is also decimal, and there's also char. So the difference between float and double is that doubles is like more bytes in the memory. It's like 16 bytes, and while float is like 8, I think. So if you want to store a big number, just use double to be safe. Okay, great. So declare and define. In C, it's very important that you know whether you're declaring or defining a variable. So when you like declare, you just like write the name and the type, and when you define it, so you give a value to it. So that's very important. Okay, ignore what I say. Okay, so conditions, if, right? So in C, like, if it's just a if. So if sky, which is an integer value, is 1, then you go outside, right? Prints go outside. And if the amount of apples, which is an integer, apple count, is like bigger than 8, then it prints Kevin ate an apple. And then you do the math, which is like apples count is apples count minus 1. So you can see like when you do equal in C, you do like double equals, because single equal is like giving value to something, well, double equals a comparative function. And also there's else if, and there's a else if and else. So like if sky's 1, then do that. If sky's 2, then do that. And then by default, if sky is like any other number that's not 1 and 2, it's gonna print that. You can look on the slides and memorize the syntax later, but as long as you get how it works. So great. Part 2. Adding loops. So loops very important because too long don't read. Yeah, okay. Loops in programming is like multiplication and math, right? It's very important. So you can use loops to repeat things. Okay, so there's a while loop and a for loop, but if you will learn more about it, and you'll see that for loop is basically a while loop. Well, yeah. So while is very simple, right? So while apple is 0, while this condition is true, then it will loop. So let me just change hello.c. So okay, great. So let's change it. So you press O to go to insert mode and go to a new line. So I'll just write while let's see. So let me declare it in int. So let's call it int a. I can also like define it. So let's just say int a 0. And then while a is less than 10, and then you just put this thing in the middle. Actually, you don't have to put it, but to look good, you'll do it. Okay, so can anyone tell me what this thing will do? Yeah, so like you can see like while n is less than 10, it will print, right? But this code will actually get stuck because you're never changing the value of n, so it's like it's gonna get stuck in the dead loop. So you avoid this by just typing like a equals a plus 1, or alternatively you can write stuff like a plus plus, like they're the same effect. Okay, same effect. So I just do wq, and then I'll gcc hello.c again. Wow, and you see it printed the thing 10 times, right? 1 2 3 4 5. Yeah, actually it's okay, great. So now I'll demonstrate the other type of loop, which is a for loop. So for works like while, but you don't have to like define this thing outside, and you don't have to write that thing inside. So you can just write like for I is 0 and then I is less than 10, and then I plus plus. So like convention in C is that like you start your loops with like I, and if you have to put a loop within the loop, you go like I, j, k, and etc. So this thing has the this thing has the same effect. So you press X to delete the character when you're not in insert mode, right? And then you do that. Oh, yeah, I forgot to type something. So yeah, if you delete this, the code still runs, right? As long as you have only one line. So it also compiles. So that's why C is actually superior to like Python or whatever, because there's so many ways to do the same thing. Because the logic just makes sense, right? So yeah, it's a same thing. Okay. Let's do math. It's pretty simple. I don't have to demonstrate this. And also modulus. This thing's very important. Just remember modulus. Oh yeah, and division. One thing about C is that like, if I write so if I write like int a equals 5 and then int b equals 2, okay? So I'll print f, and then percentage d. This thing just means you're printing out an integer value, right? Or I can, just do a integer value, right? And then I'll just make a new variable, c equals 5 divided by 2, okay? I'll print c here. Okay, so actually like in other languages, oh yeah, you get 2.5, but because we have integers, you actually get 2. because it's C, right? It's a integer. So it just rounds down no matter what. So even it's like 2.999, you get 2. So how do you fix it? You change it to float, right? Because we learned about float, and then you just do that. Oh yeah, I should have wrote a divided by b. But you might realize like they're both like integers, so you convert them both to float, and then you do that. Okay, and then just compile again. So before you run the program, if you made changes to it, you have to compile it again. So yeah, now you see you have 2.5. Okay, great. So yeah, now you just do your classwork. There's 3 tasks. Okay, print out numbers and blah blah blah. Just do that. Also, oh wait, why am I showing you the solutions? Whatever. You know what? Just pause the video here and like just look at the solutions when you're done. Okay. Okay. Here's the second one. Here's a very difficult classwork, and another one, and a very hard one. Alright, great. So email your solutions to me or join me on Discord, and here's how you join Discord using this link. Whatever. Yeah. So if you didn't attend ASPE last time, just like come to class next week, or else I'll email your parents. And yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.